We're pleased to have Rhiannon as our speaker. Rhiannon has experience working for 4 different organizations as a business analyst and consultant after graduation. They are grateful for the support and guidance they received when transitioning into this career, and now they are dedicated to giving back to the community. Rhiannon's passion lies in helping others achieve their career goals. They offer peer-to-peer guidance in CV and cover letter writing, interview skills, and general career advice. Rhiannon is an aspiring change maker and advocate, using their BA skill and influence to help advance LGBTQIA+, neurodiversity, and accessibility causes. Let's welcome Rhiannon.
Kia ora. So I'll just start sharing my screen using the buttons that are hidden somewhere right now. So one moment, please. Share screen 1. Okay. Awesome sauce. Join Slido. It's a really awesome tool, super simple to use. So I want to start off tonight's session by doing a karakia. So for those of you who aren't from New Zealand or haven't heard of this before, a karakia is a way that I can start this this gathering that gets us all together, unites us, and sets an intention for us for this to be a really great and not life-changing, that's a bit too blowing smoke up myself, but a really awesome session, and it is an important thing to do because it shows respect to our Indigenous culture, Māori, and it also shows respect and honors one of the foundational documents for New Zealand, which is the Treaty of Waitangi. So I'm going to start with this karakia. Whakataka te hao ki te uru, whakataka te hao ki te tonga. Kia mā kina ke uta, kia mā taratara ki tai. Ihi aka ana te arakura, he teo, he huka, he hahu, tihi, mōri opa. Cool. So let's chat about why we're all here today. So I want to teach you guys what I've learned, or teach all of you about what I've learned about unleashing your potential with an award-winning, with a winning CV and cover letter. So, I mean, anyone can knock up a CV and cover letter, but I'm here to teach you how to get that through to get you the role that you want. So this evening, we're going to talk a little bit about me. We're going to talk about the purpose of a CV. I'm going to tell you my perspective on that. I'm going to tell you how to craft a great CV. I'm going to do a demo. So a couple of really awesome volunteers have given Sophie their CVs to give to me, and then I've gone and I've completely revamped them, and I'm going to talk you through some of the things that I've done, hopefully demonstrate to you the tips that I'll tell you about in the first part of this. We're going to talk about the purpose of a cover letter, how to write a great cover letter, and we're going to demo some cover letter examples. Then we'll talk a little bit about what's next. So where do you go from here? And we'll have a Q&A. So who am I? I'm Rhi. My pronouns are they, them. I'll be sharing my wisdom and experience. I don't do this as a day job. I'm a BA. I just kind of fell into CV writing, helping people. I found out that I was quite good at it after I paid a professional myself. And I was like, hey, actually, now that I know some of these things, I could probably help other people with it. And I've helped quite a few people be successful in their job searches. So I grew up wanting to be a scientist. I really wanted to be a scientist. I had this lofty ambition of helping feed the world's growing population by being part of the next green revolution in agriculture. So I went and I studied at Waikato, and I got a Bachelor of Science, and I did everything I could while I was there, got really good grades, I got placements at Ag Research and whatnot. But when I finished studying and I was trying to find a job, I just found it really difficult. And I ended up getting a job as a laboratory technician, and it was awful. I didn't enjoy it at all, and it wasn't what I envisaged for myself. So I kind of went for a bit of a crisis, and I ended up working at the Department of Conservation. And it was at the Department of Conservation I started doing little things to make my life easier as a process worker and to like share knowledge with my colleagues. And my boss noticed that and wanted me to be a subject matter expert for our team on some project work. And when I was getting involved with that improvement work, I discovered what business analysis is. And I was like, oh, wow, this is actually really cool. This ticks a lot of the same bits of my brain as science. You know, it's all about investigating things and making hypotheses and using data and changing things, like making meaningful change, just as much as science is a little different. And so I kind of got to this point where I was the top of where I could be in that role. And I was like, well, I could go and get my master's in science, and I could still struggle to find a job, and I could basically never earn enough money to pay back the huge student loan I would have. Or I could explore this other thing, this business analysis thing. So I ended up looking it up and doing the master's at Victoria, which is where I met Sophie. We were in the same class and we were on a couple of the same teams. And that was wicked. I met so many cool people during that degree, many of who I'm still in contact with today. So I had a lot of success networking, and I received some really helpful advice. I went into my master's degree with this thought in my head that I was just going to give it my absolute all for the year and a half that I was doing it, and I was going to, you know, turn around my career. And, you know, if at the end of it, it didn't work out, at least I could say that I gave it my very best. But luckily for me, it did. It worked out really well. I'm so happy with my career now. So I received a lot of helpful advice, and there was a lot of things that I needed to break down for myself. So now I really want to pass those learnings on to others. You won't see me around as much this year, as I'm kind of taking the year off extracurriculars to focus on planning my wedding, which is at the end of this year. But you'll still see me around occasionally. But like last year and the year before, I was just constantly on the networking scene. So first off, let's talk about what the purpose of a CV is. So if you could write in on Slido what you think the purpose of a CV is. Oh, one participant typing. Get an interview. Nice. Absolutely. Show what skills you have. Highlight your background. Yeah. Okay, so I'll just start telling you about what, sorry. Yeah, so I'll just start telling you about my perspective. So it's absolutely the purpose of the CV is to get you an interview. It's not to get you a job. That's a bit of a misconception. You want to get through to that interview stage where you can really highlight and show your fit, and that's what gets you the job. But when you're thinking about the purpose of a CV, I really want you to think about the stakeholders and the users of your CV. So who are the stakeholders and users of your CV? They are recruiters, they're applicant tracking systems, ATS, they're HR, they're hiring managers, and hopefully they are the interview panel. So why does that matter? Because to craft a good CV, you have to think about the screening and filtering process. So there's a couple of different ways that screening and filtering happens. One common approach is to use predefined keywords and phrases to scan the CVs for specific qualifications, experience, and skills. Another approach is to use a machine learning algorithm that can learn and improve over time based on historical data and successful hires. So there is a definite algorithm to get past first. So Once the CVs are screened and filtered, the ATS generates a shortlist of candidates, or maybe a person generates a shortlist of candidates, but most big companies will be using software now to do that. And then they will invite them to interviews and decide which ones to invite for further screening. So the number one question at first is, can you get past the algorithm? So a CV should demonstrate that you're a good fit for the role. It should show your relevant experience, skills, and personal qualities. And experience doesn't have to be just your job experience. I'm going to tell you more a little bit later about other types of experience, which is really relevant and adds to your story. And a great CV is endlessly and easily customizable to the roles that you're applying for. So, how to craft a great CV. Next slide, please. Right, so CV, curriculum vitae, literally translates to the course of your life. So CVs are all about storytelling. Why? Why should we tell a story with our CV? Well, it humanizes the candidate, it engages the reader, and it makes the candidate more memorable, as well as demonstrating key skills. So we absorb information better in context. If I say to you, I have presentation skills, versus saying, I gave a presentation to over 80 people on CV and cover letter writing, which was well received. I was asked to come back to discuss interviews, and a third of the participants connected with me on LinkedIn afterwards, which gives you a stronger impression, right? It's definitely the second one, and hopefully those things will happen. So it's all about putting things in context to paint a picture, to really give meaning behind all of those skills. And so you have to think about what your story is. What is your career journey? What are your values? What are your passions? What can you bring to the role in the workplace that no one else can? Because a lot of people would have done the same degree as you. They might have had similar experience, but where you set yourself apart is how you tell your story and what matters to you, and if that vibes with the place or the job that you're going for. So CV components. Now, this is just my personal opinion. These are things that have worked really well for me and the people that I've worked with. So your name, obviously, is a must. A tagline, I'll tell you a bit more about a tagline in a moment. Your professional profile, your contact details, including a LinkedIn hyperlink. Now, you don't have to have a LinkedIn, but I would strongly recommend having a LinkedIn, even if you're not super active on it, like Sophie and I. Just having a digital version of your CV that you can add more details in so people can check it out is a must in this hiring environment, in my opinion. So your education, your training, your courses, your certificates, your licenses, we're going to group all those together. If you don't have a lot of work experience, you can use academic experience, so projects. Languages. If you speak more than one language in New Zealand, there's a huge credit to you. A lot of Kiwis don't speak more than one language. We're quite monocultural. And if you were going into a job where you're going to be working with a diverse community or a global population, it's very impressive to be able to speak more than one language. So your professional skills, these are your soft skills or your core skills, the things that you would bring to a job no matter what that job is. Your technical competencies, so these are your tech skills, your software experience, your coding, modeling languages, that sort of stuff. And your professional experience. Any other work experience can also slide in there if you don't have a lot of professional experience. So the difference kind of professional experience is stuff that relates to the field that you want to go into, and other work experiences like, say, your past career. So I would have put down my work in labs. And then volunteering. So there's kind of two instances where it's really good to put down volunteering. One, if volunteering is a huge part of your life outside of your work. So if you're spending every second weekend at the SPCA, and that's a huge part of who you are and what you do outside of work time, then you should put it down, because it's a really valuable thing that you're a part of, and you will have transferable skills and experience from doing that thing. Or if you don't have a lot of experience in these other things, and you can show your skills and experience through volunteering, is another good way to do it. Okay, so let's jump on to some essential advice. So this is the absolute must-haves. So you need to tailor your CV to the specific job. I missed something on the last slide, sorry. So these things are bold. These are all the things that you can easily change between job applications to tailor your CV so that it looks more specific to that job. And I'll show you how to do that later. But you need to use the skills, the qualifications, the keywords that are present in the job description. You should really have the JD opposite open to your CV and your cover letter when you're working on them. Obviously, don't put any words or qualifications or things in that you don't have. Only things that you do have, and you will have a lot to offer regardless of your background if you know how to frame it in the right way. Keep it concise. So employees receive a lot of CVs. A CV in New Zealand should be 2 to 3 pages. It shouldn't be longer than 3 pages, and it shouldn't be less than 2 pages. Even if you don't have a lot of experience, find ways to use information to demonstrate your skills and experience, and make sure you have a 2-pager. And I have a free template to give out at the end of this to anyone who contacts me, which gives examples of how you can do that. You need to use strong action verbs. So use action verbs to describe your accomplishments and experiences, like managed, developed, implemented. CV writing is like its own language, right? It's different than business writing. It's different to academic writing. It's like its own language. And when you get a hang of that language, it bumps your whole CV up. It just makes it feel more professional, look more professional, read better. These using action verbs will mean that you are demonstrating things rather than just writing down your responsibilities. If someone wanted to know the responsibilities for your last role, they could simply Google your job title. They want to know what you as a person did in that role. Have I lost screen share? Oh, okay, sorry. Proofread. You should always proofread, right? Spelling, grammar, punctuation, and New Zealand English. My manager at the moment really hates it when there's US English mixed in with New Zealand English, right? Ask your friends, your family, a mentor, someone on the bus to read through your CV, give it a bit of a proofread. And if you don't want to do that, you can use software. I'll tell you a little bit about the software that I use in a moment, because I'm not very good at spelling and grammar, even though English is my first and only language. So I use a lot of software to make up for that weakness that I recognize. Highlight your achievements, and use specific examples of how you made positive impact in previous roles. You also need to keep it professional. So it should be a clear format. You need to signpost the different areas of your CV so it's really clear and easy to look at, and for people or the algorithm to find the information. No personal information. You shouldn't have photos or headshots. We don't do that in New Zealand. You don't want to have your age or date of birth or marital status, any of that sort of stuff. You don't want to be introducing opportunities for bias to your CV. So keep it out. Your contact details are good enough. And again, in the template that I'll give to anyone who reaches out to me, it only has the necessary information in there. So let's really quickly talk about tools. So real popular at the moment is ChatGPT. You can use ChatGPT on your CV. I'd really encourage you to do it. But remember, garbage in, garbage out. So you still need to do the work. You still need to be feeding it good information. You still need to check the information that comes out. It's not magical. It won't make you a winning CV. You still have to put in some hard work. Sorry to break it to you. So some other word tools that I use WordTune, which is an AI that helps rephrase sentences and paragraphs. I find this really helpful. I also use Hemingway. So this demonstrates how to make your work clearer by providing a readability score and visual editing cues. So like sentences that are run on or something, it highlights red, and then you can change it until it becomes green, and then you're like, sweet, I got it. And then Grammarly, of course. I'm sure everyone's seen an ad for Grammarly. So just some tips. You can upload the text from your CV to ChatGPT and say, provide feedback on this CV. You can also ask it to rewrite text from your CV in the style of text from the job description. That's a good way to get it using the same type of language and flow. So I want to show you some demos, but I'm doing something pretty risky that a lot of people don't recommend to do, but I decided to do it anyway. I'm going off PowerPoint, so please bear with me. So just before I jump into this, I just want to say a big thank you to the people who volunteered their CVs. I don't mean to be overly harsh. I'm just trying to help y'all learn. And I have a brand new CV for you at the end of it. So let's go to the CVs. Okay, so let's take a look at this first CV. So we've got the name, the information at the top, good. The objective. So it's good that this person has a little bit at the top that says a little bit about them, but it's too focused on the technical skills, which could be elsewhere. And this doesn't really tell me that much about them. They have their work experience, which is good. And they have listed the things that they've done. They have their education, they have their certificate, and they have only their hard skills down here. And then they have reference available on request. So the CV is a little bit short. And no offense, it's a little bit boring. It doesn't stand out to me. The formatting is okay. There is nothing wrong with having a white CV, but it's not exciting. It doesn't stand out to me. And I don't actually know a lot about this person. And when it comes to their jobs, I don't know a lot about their jobs either. So let me show you how we turned this around. So this is the afterwards. So we've got their name right at the top, big, bold, see it straight away. Then I've come up with a tagline. So this is 3 things that immediately the employer is going to associate with this person. It also creates like some more data for the lovely AI to pick up on. So it will, if these are the words that are used in the job description, it's going to go, this person is the right person. And then the person who's reading it, the user of the CV, is going to go, oh, this person looks like the right person as well. So we've got technical expertise, analyst, customer service focused. So these are 3 big things that I picked up on that person's CV. Now we want to put the most important information on the front, and actually your education is part of the most important information. That's why you are particularly relevant for this role. So we've got your education, and it's been put in this much clearer kind of format. We've got a bit of a longer profile, and this profile is where we're going to pack in some buzzwords to get you past the algorithm, and it's also where we're going to pack in buzzwords to make an impact on the reader. So results driven and business savvy business intelligence analyst. I utilize my data skills to provide actionable insights for decision making. I bring a wealth of experience in areas such as business intelligence, technical support, and data analysis to drive growth and success. I work closely with stakeholders to identify business needs. My expertise, work ethic, and commitment to excellence, I am well suited to a dynamic team. So it's like a real punchy, in your face, words to get you past the algorithm, words to make an impact in the reader's brain. And then we jump into the professional experience. So instead of just going straight into instead of going straight into the descriptors of the role, I like to put in a sentence that kind of summarizes the role, what you do in the role. So I play a critical role in providing valuable insights and data-driven solutions to drive business growth and success. So a little summary of what you do in that role. And then you can jump into the things that you do. So generate and maintain Power BI, manage and build reports, provide technical support, all of that sort of stuff. And again, really clear formatting, really easy to see where everything is. Again, that little sentence, your languages on the first page, because again, that is like really valuable information. And then we go to the second page. So list out some professional skills. So these are the things that you would bring to any role. And again, this has like two purposes: one, to get you past that algorithm, and two, to reinforce in the person who's reading the CV what those skills are. They can just quickly look over there. They don't have to try and look for them in your work. They just know where they are. So then we've got other work experience. So this other work experience is really relevant to what this person does now if you frame it in the right way. So excellent customer service. You're always going to need customer service regardless of where you go. Managing inventory levels, all of that sort of stuff, we can bring it over and frame it in a way that shows its direct benefit. Technical competencies, so listing these out here. And then this person didn't have this on the original CV, but they did have it on their LinkedIn. They were a volunteer sales assistant for a while. And adding this just gives a bit more flavor to their CV. Again, shows that they're doing stuff out in the community, and that they bring marketing and customer service and all of that sort of stuff over with them, and that they can also offer that to the job in addition to their like just work experience. So then that brings the CV to almost 2 pages, which is where we want to be. Cool. And now I'll show you the second CV that I revamped. So in the second CV, zoom in a little bit, we've got profile up the top. That's nice. They gave some details which weren't really necessarily needed. The employment history is just too short. This is the stuff that they've got here is super relevant to moving into a BA job, but they haven't really demonstrated it. In the skills area, they've got a couple of skills, but remembering that we want to get past the AI first, and then we want to make a really clear impression on a human. Having these bars doesn't really mean a lot. It's not something that's readable to the AI, and it's kind of a waste of real estate space when we could put some more skills here. And then we're going down to hobbies. Again, this is kind of a bit of a waste of real estate. We want all the most important details on the front. So it's okay to have like your hobbies in a CV, but we can put more important things on the front page. The education is good, but we don't really need this much detail about the education. It could be kind of made smaller to get in more information about the work, which is what is really relevant. Courses, awesome that they did applied knowledge accountancy. A lot of the accounting firm, a lot of the big consultancy firms started off as accountancies, and so I have quite a lot of respect for the accountants. So that is something cool that they can bring over, and that's something that should be on the first page. Languages, these bars don't really mean much. let's stick to words, because this can't be read by the AI, and it's not entirely clear to a person either. And then they've got internships, and they've got extracurricular activities. Now, I don't think they're quite sorted these right, or they don't have quite the right headings, but most of the stuff we can make relevant, we just have to reframe it. So we're going to jump into the revamped version now. So again, we've got, boom, straight away, the person's name. We've got the tagline. So in this case, be a master's candidate, an experienced consultant and manager, because those two things from their history are so super relevant to the field that they want to go into. And so a hiring manager is going to see that, and they're going to be like, oh, this person has a load of transferable skills that they can bring over. And when this person graduates, they can put graduate business analyst. So then we've got the contacts, we've got the profile, again, using the punchy words, telling a bit of the story. So pursuing a master's degree, a little bit about the master's degree. So equipping them with a strong industry skill set, experience in education and community work, demonstrate transferable skills and work ethic they can bring to the role. And then the education, again, on the first page, the professional experience. So I've done that summary of the role. So I played a critical role in driving business growth and ensuring smooth day-to-day operations. And then I've put in bullet points about what they did in that role, what they achieved in that role. So, maintained excellent relationships with clients, ensuring their needs were met and issues were solved promptly. So collaborated, conducted, managed, developed. Those are all the action words I was telling you about. Courses, we've got the course on the front page, and then we've got the languages on the front page, and we've used the same terms that they use on LinkedIn. So professional working proficiency, native or bilingual proficiency. This is more meaningful than the bars that we had on the previous CV. So we're taking up the front page with the most relevant information. Moving on to the second page, we've got the professional skills and the technical competencies. We've got other work experience, because it still brings flavor to this person, and these are still transferable things. And then we've got academic experience. So this person had an academic profile on their CV, but it didn't really, an academic project on their CV, but it didn't really stand out, even though it's something that is quite transferable. So I just brought it over, just it up a little bit. So worked in a collaborative team environment to design a drink that met a variety of requirements. And then we've got our action verbs. So again, demonstrating storytelling, going to get you past the algorithm, going to make a strong impression on the users of the CV. Then we put in hobbies, right? Because this person had their hobbies on their last CV. They're obviously really outdoorsy. If you're going for a job where a bunch of other people are outdoorsy, they will see this and they'll go, oh, cool, you know what? I also love biking, so we're going to have a good chat about biking. But it didn't need to be on the front page. So this is a better place to have it. And then lastly, we've got community development. So this person did some volunteering roles. This was also kind of a bit lost in the last CV, but we've brought it out here and done a little summary. And again, it's all in the same format, so it's very easy to look at. If I'm like, oh, what did they do volunteering? Just look down for the volunteering. So now, if you were a hiring manager, which of the CVs would you shortlist? Would you shortlist the before CVs, or would you shortlist the after CVs? After. Okay, well, that's awesome. Look, I've done a great job then. So now that we've done CVs, let's look at cover letter writing. So what do you think is the purpose of a cover letter? I'll stop talking while you're responding, because I have been talking a lot and I've only got like 7 minutes left. Okay, so It is to convince the employer that you're the right person for the job. It's to explain why you're interested in the role. It's to demonstrate your skills and your experience and to make you seem like the strongest candidate. It's to showcase your personality, your enthusiasm, your communication. And importantly for us as business analysts, you can use it to explain the change in your career path and demonstrate your transferable skills. Because the career that you had before this is not a waste. You have so much value to bring from that career. So you just got to find a way to frame it right. And you can do that by starting off strong in your cover letter. Also, a lot of hiring comes down to culture fit. So if you can show in your cover letter that you fit with the culture of the organization, you're automatically a step above other people who have more bland cover letters, and they might read them and go, oh, this person looks like the last 20 people. So we want our cover letters to demonstrate who we are. Yeah, and together the cover letter and the CV, we want to get them past the algorithm and we want to get it into a person's hands. So what are the components of a cover letter? I think it looks fancy if you use the same formatting as your CV. I think it just brings it up a little bit, like an extra little ditch. A header with your name at the top and a repetition of those of your tagline. Your contact information, the date and the recipient's info if you have it, short paragraphs or bullet points, and it should be 1 page or less. It should never be more than 1 page, okay? The content, so it should address the requirements in the job description. It should use specific examples to demonstrate you fit, and it should show that you understand the mission and culture of the organization. It should explain your interest and career goals. And lastly, it should highlight your personality, enthusiasm, and communication skills. So the structure is a professional greeting, a body, a conclusion, a call to action, and a closing. So I'll just quickly talk you through an old cover letter of mine. All right. Oh, I opened the one with my details on. Whoopsie daisies. Okay, that's fine. I had one blanked out. Anyway, so starting off with that introduction. So signaling your interest and saying that you have a passion, and I tell them about how I've just this is the cover letter that I put forward just after I graduated, and it was for the Ministry of Primary Industries. So for here, I talk about prior to retraining in business analysis, I pursued a career in agricultural research science. So I talk about my past because it's directly relevant to the organization. And that might not always be the case, but in this case it was. So this is also where I tell a little bit of my story, and I also make reference to the job description, which said that they want someone who knew about the primary industries and rural communities. Then I talk about, over the course of my career, I've constantly demonstrated a passion for driving the success of the businesses I represent while enabling a culture of constant growth. I talked about what I did in my previous roles, and again, it comes back to that storytelling. It comes back to using those keywords, but in a really authentic way. And I actually worked at MPI for a little bit as a part of my master's program. So I put that in there as well and talked about what I did in that project. And that is like one of the things that you should have on your cover letter is a little bit about some of your past experience that's directly applicable to the role that you're going for now, whether that be an academic project or a previous job. And then we get into our closing. So I'm confident I have the skills and experience and expertise needed to excel in this role. And I'm excited at the prospect of enhancing my skills and gaining experience. I believe the combination of my experience, education, and skill set would enable my success. And then I end it with that call to action. I look forward to speaking with you about this opportunity. So that's the call to action. It's like, give me a ring. Let's have a chat about what I can bring to the role. And then the ending greeting. So now that I've been a business analyst for 2 and a bit years, my CV is much more focused on all of the business analysis experience I have, but I just wanted to demonstrate to you how you can bring in experience from a career that was different. I also made a little something for a non 1 and a non 2, following that same format of that I showed you in the previous slides, and then again with the same format as the CV. So when you put them in together, they look good, they obviously go together. Again, it's your name, it's those top couple of things, that tagline. So we'll jump back onto the slideshow. So what next? Find a template that you like, or you can contact me for the template that I've made, which is the one that I demonstrated for those 2 revamped CVs. It has real life examples from my CV, because that's information that I can give away to demonstrate like how you can phrase things. So write the content, develop the CV and cover letter using the tools and lessons that I've shown you this evening. Test the content, apply for jobs and ask feedback. You can ask friends, mentors, family, experts, myself, Sophie, anyone on here. I'm sure if you messaged them and said, hey, could you have a little look-sees at my CV or my cover letter, you know, maybe we can do an exchange. I'm sure they'll be perfectly happy to do that with you. And remember, always ask for feedback after you have applied for jobs or been interviewed. The worst thing that they can say is, no, sorry, we don't have time. And the best thing that they can do is give you feedback, which will make the difference between you getting the next role or not. And lastly, improve the content. So incorporate feedback, experience, learnings, keep iterating. We're all about continuous improvement here in the business analysis space. So continuously improve your CV and your cover letter. It's all about iterations. You might not get it perfect the first time, but it's that cycle that gets you closer and closer. So tēnā koutou katoa. Thank you all very much. Reach out through LinkedIn if you want to connect. And now we'll get to the audience. So, do we need to write a cover letter for every job application? Yes, you should. Even if they don't ask for it, you should, because that's how you get that's how you hook them and how you tell your story, right? It's part of that package. Unless you're going through a recruiter. If you're going through a recruiter, they'll do that for you, so you don't need to submit a cover letter. But it's still a nice thing to give the recruiter so they have a bit more knowledge of who you are. Do I need to rewrite the CV for every JD? No, you don't. You can just change those key parts. So in that technical skills, change it to the technical skills that you have in common with the JD. For the professional skills, change it to the skills you have in common. For the tagline and for your professional pronoun profile, change up those words, align it better with the JD. So you don't have to rewrite an entirely new CV, you just have to change a couple of things. And I'll give these slides to Sophie, and then Sophie will disseminate them, and you'll see those things that I had in bold on one of those slides. Those are the things that you change between, and it makes a world of difference. How much is a professional CV writer? So how long is a piece of string? It can be anywhere from like $200 to $500 to much more. It just depends on how much experience you have, the person or company that you're approaching, how much you want done. Some people also include like LinkedIn and whatnot as part of their package. Is it necessary to show my graduation result on CV? Not necessarily. So I got, what did I get? I got like honors or whatever the master's equivalent is. So I put that in there because I worked my butt off. I'm going to have those employees knowing that I'm a cut above the rest. But you don't have to. No one really cares. If you got the degree, then you got the degree and you're qualified for the role. Like, it doesn't matter if you got the degree with a C or if you got the degree with an A. But if you got the degree with an A, why not put it in there? Can we hack the bots with repeating the same keywords? Yeah, you can get your CV through the AI, but once you get in front of a person, they're going to be like, what rubbish is this? So you have to use those keywords authentically. You have to make it part of your storytelling, because the person matters. Like the hiring manager, HR, the interview panel. If you just if you just flood it with keywords from the job description and what you're saying doesn't make sense, then it doesn't matter that you got through the AI, because you're going to be thrown in the scrap pile when you get to the real human. Do you need to write to HRs? If you don't know the name of the person, just write kia ora, tēnā koutou, just greeting and then comma. That's fine. You don't necessarily have to put a person's name in there if you don't know the person. If you do know the person, put it in. Like, back in the old days, you used to put the whole postal address of the company that you were sending the cover letter to, because we used to post things. Now we don't. It's just a waste of space. Don't include the postal address. How could you make your CV attractive if you are a fresher in a particular field, or you're planning to move into a new field and you have zero experience? Identify those transferable skills. So Dr. Lizzie did a talk a while ago, which is now available on the YouTube channel for the BA Meetup group, which is all about transferable skills. Identify those transferable skills, reframe your past experience in a way that makes it relevant to what you want to go into. Right, you can say, my experience in labs doesn't have any standing on my career as a business analyst, but actually I reframed it in a way that it does. And I know people who worked in the travel sector and worked in all sorts of different places before they became business analysts, and they can all tell stories about how they were doing little things that you would associate with a BA before they decided to become a BA, whether it was being involved in the rollout or implementation of new software, the new software for the hotel booking system. It's all that you just gotta reframe it. A skill-based CV won't perform that much. In my experience, skill-based CVs aren't the best for demonstrating your experience or telling your story. I think you can tell your story or your previous experience in a way that makes it applicable to whatever you want to go for. That's just my personal preference. I really like the 2-column CV, most important information on the front page, name big at the top. For me and the people that I've worked with, that's what's been successful. A lot of skill CVs I've seen just are kind of like a bit of a mess, like it's hard to do the signposting, it's hard to tell the story of your career journey. You can find ways to do that within the more traditional CV format. Is it important to put your education on page 1 of the CV if you've been working for over 20 years? Yeah, I still think it is, depending on what the education is. Like, if you've got a university degree, I think that should always be on the front page. Maybe if you only went to high school, it's not as relevant. Just stick with your experience. Like, it's all about making the CV work for you. That's why on the template that I'll give out, it has like a load of different options for things that you could fill your CV with. How to structure a graduate CV without much professional experience. So if you're doing the master's program at Vic, you will get a couple of really cool projects where you'll work with real stakeholders. As long as you are clear about the fact that it was academic experience rather than work experience, put that in there. You're doing the same stuff as you would be if you were in a role, right? You are still exercising yourself as a business analyst in those papers, in those projects. So include them. And in like in the template, I give some examples of how I used mine, my academic experience in my first couple of CVs. Should I put the reference given to me by, no, put it on LinkedIn. In the reference sections, just say references can be supplied if required. You don't need to put your references on your CV. It's not the best use of real estate. Again, thinking about real estate. But there is a section on LinkedIn which is like recommendations, and you should have like recommendations in there. Do I do CV reviewing? Yes, I do. However, again, I'm planning a wedding this year, so I don't have quite as much time, and I usually do it on like a kind of a cohort basis. So like yeah, depending on your means and whatnot, we could definitely come to an arrangement. Just like send stuff through to me, and if I don't have time, then I'll just let you know. But yeah, I love helping people out. That's why I'm like doing this talk. Hopefully I've helped you out. Is there any other questions? Is there anything that I haven't answered, lovely hosts? What would be the advice for someone who hasn't worked in tech to put on their CV? Okay, every single organization has tech in it. If you are burying people in the ground, you will work with a customer relationship management database to put people's details in and contact people. Every job has an aspect of tech. So think about what you did with the technology in your job, and think about the projects that you've been a part of in your job, because project management is a big thing in tech. So if you've been part of projects, then you have project experience. It doesn't matter if it was a project to build a new bridge, or if it was a project to roll out a new piece of software, there will be transferable things there that you can write about. So I don't think there's any such thing as non-relevant experience. It all depends on how you frame it. If you're a waitress in a restaurant, you were managing expectations, you were creating and building relationships, you were managing timelines around when to get food and drinks and stuff out there. Just depends on how you frame it. There will be tons of things that you will have learned throughout your career, regardless of what you were doing, that you can then move over, because like it's easy to teach technical skills, right? A lot of when you get into a job, you won't know everything, regardless of how much experience you've had, because different organizations do stuff differently, and so there will be a lot of on the job learning, regardless of where you've come from. Even if you're a contractor with 20 years experience, there'll be on the job learning. And so it's really those other skills that you bring, those soft skills, those professional skills, those core skills that show that you have the ability to learn, and that will bump up your ability to do that technical stuff. You know, like anyone can learn how to code, but not everyone can smile when they're having a crap day. So like that is yeah, that's all I got to say about that, really. How can you contact me to get the CV format? LinkedIn. So Rhiannon Bond. Message me on LinkedIn, I'll message you the CV format, or I can also send it through to Sophie, who can put it somewhere more accessible. Maybe I'll do that.
Yes, you can find the Rhiannon's linking on our comment area, or if you have any other questions, welcome to put that on that comment area, then we can collect them for Rhiannon.
Cool.
Thank you, Ray, for your time.
Thank you. And if you enjoyed this, let the group know so that they invite me back.
Sure. Thank you, Ray, for your time tonight and all this information and the knowledge you share with us. And I think the demo part is impressive, and I believe there will be a big difference if we rethink and we reaffirm reframe our CV and cover letter, follow your suggestion strategic method. Thank you again, Ray, and thank you everyone for joining us. We will upload the recording to our YouTube channel soon. Welcome to subscribe. And if you do like our event, please refer our meetup group to your friends and colleagues. I hope to see you all in our next event on 26th of April, and watch out our meetup group notifications. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rhi. It was excellent.
Yay.
See you, ladies. See you guys.
See ya.
Bye.
Night.